every day, every breath, everything, I thought of nothing else other than what can I do and what's in the way of me being able to do what I want to do next, and rebuilding, using what I had in the right hemisphere to rebuild the circuits. I knew I had language. I knew I could speak. I knew I had vocabulary. I knew I had ideas. I knew somewhere in there I had numbers. It took 4 years for me to even understand what's a 1. I mean, wow. I did not die that day. And so I have all the possibility of what will be. And it was wide open. I wasn't going to be a neuroscientist again because that left hemisphere, I never held myself to returning to whom I had been before the stroke. That girl died that day as far as I was concerned. But the phenomenon was that as I'm a gross anatomist, so I taught cadaver lab. And when you are teaching, you have a whole body there and you're teaching medical students about what's inside of there. You get your hands in there and you say, I want you to slip in behind the stomach and I want you to slip this hand in here. And I want you to know the relationship between the stomach and the duodenum and the liver and the splenic nerve and the kidney. I want you to feel it because I want you to have a 3-dimensional image of that inside of your mind so that you can use that information. Very right-brained. So when we learn facts and details with the left brain, but we learn context and big picture with the right brain. So we have these 2 very different ways of working it out.
I've had so many founders speak to me and say, why didn't this particular ad that I ran on this platform work for me? Maybe the copy wasn't good, the creative wasn't strong, but usually the problem is they're not having the right conversation because that ad never reached the right person. And if you're in B2B marketing, that is much of the game. And this is where LinkedIn ads solves that problem for you. Their targeting is ridiculously specific. You can target by job title, seniority, company size, industry, and even someone's skill set. And their network includes over 1 billion professionals. About 130 million of them are decision makers. So when you use LinkedIn ads, you're putting your brand in front of the right people. And LinkedIn ads also drive the highest B2B return on ad spend across all ad networks in my experience. If you want to give them a try, head over to linkedin.com/diary. And when you spend $250 on your first LinkedIn ads campaign, you'll get an extra $250 credit from me for the next one. That's linkedin.com/diary. Terms and conditions apply. So you said there's 4 personalities in everybody's brain. What are those 4 personalities?
As we're looking at the brain, just from an anatomical perspective, the way evolution happens for the mammalian brain is that there are creatures who have a spinal cord and they have, and there are creatures like that, like worms. And then a little brain, a little medulla will form at the top of that tissue. And then now that brain controls and streamlines information processing to the rest of the system. And then we add a pons.
What's that?
It's just a structure of cells. So this is the medulla.
Yeah.
We would have spinal cord there. And this is the pons. We call that the pons. It's a group of cells.
Brain.
Yeah, it's a smaller brain. And in relationship to that pons is this cerebellum. And the cerebellum has this gorgeous cell in it called the Purkinje cell. And they're like a hand. They're like, 2-dimensional. And they all line up like this. And then fibers run through those. And it's part of the mechanism of timing so that you have fluidity of movement because of the way those cells are aligned. So not all cells are created equal and not all cells look alike. Cells have the right shape for the right job. So as then we grow and now we have the mammalian brain, we're going to have the hippocampus, you've heard of that, for learning and memory, the amygdala, you've heard that for am I safe?
Am I safe?
Are you safe?
Oh,
the amygdala,
okay.
Yeah, there's a group of cells right there that is scanning constantly. Am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? And you're fine until you're not safe.
Okay, so like threat detection.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
You have 2 emotional systems, one in your left hemisphere and one in your right hemisphere. And the right hemisphere is going to be right here, right now. Am I safe in the right here, right now? So let's say all of a sudden a snake went by and we would jump, we would startle because it's your right amygdala saying, oh my gosh, am I safe? And then the left hemisphere is going, oh my gosh, it's a snake. No, I'm not safe. Push it away. And when we're calm, that's when the hippocampi, because we have 2 amygdala, 1 in each hemisphere, 2 hippocampi, 1 in each hemisphere. And when the amygdala are calm and you feel safe, now you can learn and focus with the anterior, with the cingulate gyrus, and learn new things. So, these groups of cells. Now, if you wipe out an amygdala, you're not going to feel any fear. You wipe out a language center, you're not going to have any language. You wipe out motor skills to your index finger and you're paralyzed. So every ability you have is because we have these brain cells that perform that function. So for the 4 parts of us, so we have an emotional system in each hemisphere. The emotional system of the right hemisphere, this is a right here, right now machine. Right here, right now. That's all it has. Doesn't have the past, doesn't have the future, doesn't know who you are.
Doesn't have anxiety, depression.
Well, it has anxiety, but most of that is going to be based in the left hemisphere because this machine, the left hemisphere, has linearity across time. So this emotional system is remembering every traumatic event that ever happened to you that you don't want to have happen again.
Is that where trauma lives in the brain?
Trauma's living in there, as is addiction. Addiction, there's a group of cells in here called the insular cortex, and that's where craving is, and that's a part of the limbic system of the left hemisphere. And if you wipe out craving, do you still have an addiction? So this is, let me just keep going. So we have these 2 emotional systems, and then we have these 2 thinking systems. And the thinking system is what distinguishes us as humans from all other mammals. Okay, so our mammals, our dogs love us. There ain't any question about that. Our dogs can punish us when we're not very, we don't show up and we've sent them to doggy care if they're not happy about that. So mammals have other forms, but we have this higher executive functioning. And in the right hemisphere, it's right here, right now. And in the left hemisphere, it's all about me. Because in there, in that thinking, is my ego center in that prefrontal region. I exist. Back here, orientation association area, I begin and I end here. This is the package of me, the individual. I have a language. I can create language. I can understand language. I can read. I can write. I have mathematics in there. And this motor system controls the opposite side of my body. So that's a personality.
So to summarize them, what are the 4 types?
Okay. So when I look at a brain, and this is totally randomly named, and I did that because I had to communicate about it somewhere. So I call left thinking character 1. And I actually give that part of my brain a name. I call her Helen. Hell on wheels, she gets it done. You're talking to Helen right now. She's giving you facts and details. She is all about what is right and wrong and good and bad. How do I fit myself into a society? How do I use my words in order to communicate? So this is the part of us that goes to work. It's our A-type personality. Character 1, left thinking.
And that's on this side here.
Yeah. Well, it's this outer layer of cells is called the cerebral cortex. And the cerebral cortex is actually in human made up of mostly 6 layers of cells. It's very complex. In some areas, especially where you have sensory systems, it's just going to be 4 layers. But this is a complex portion of the organ that separates us from other animals.
What about character 2?
So character 2 is going to be the left emotion. Now, the difference between the things you can say predictably about the left hemisphere is it has linearity across time and it has me, the individual. And my emotional system then has my past pain and it wants, and it's kind of always looking for a reason to knee-jerk react and have emotional reactivity. So many people are trying to fix or heal or get rid of their emotional reactivity when this is a portion of our brain which is running constantly in the background to protect us in the present moment when new information comes in. So we want to work with that and we want to appreciate it and we want to love on it and we want to be kind to it because it's generally not very happy because it is storing all of our pain from the past.
And what do you call that?
Character 2. I call mine Abby. We could spend a whole semester talking about character 2 because character 2 is our pain from the past. And in our society, everything's about our pain from the past and our professional self. Character 3 is going to be the emotional content of the right hemisphere. Well, this is right here, right now. What am I experiencing emotionally? Experiential. This is where, what's the temperature of the air? What does it feel like to have clothing on? What does that feel like on your body?
When you meditate, they ask you to become aware of your environment, right?
And focus on your breath. Exactly. Because they want you to expand yourself, one, out of the thinking consciousness and right and wrong and good and bad structure, the box that we think in of the left thinking. And they want you to stop, thinking about your girlfriend and boy, we didn't really end it very well. Or boy, I had a great morning this morning. Okay. So this is playful. So character 3, it's young. We have 2 little people inside of ourselves, and that's the emotional. They're immature. We are feeling creatures. As biological creatures, we are feeling creatures who think. So a lot of character 3s, actually, we have character 3 moments that land us in jail because it's not thinking about consequences of behavior. It's just thinking, oh yeah, the neighbor's pool. It's 3:00 in the morning. They won't notice. Let's go jump in their pool. And then the next thing we know, we've been arrested. So then character 4 is the thinking portion of our brain. This is our wisdom. We go and we have experiences and we learn. Because neuroplasticity is real, and we have to have neuroplasticity. And this is all about the cells, neurons in real time, reaching out, making new connections constantly. But their cell bodies are in position. But in order for me to make an association between you and something else, then I actually grow to you, and I grow to the something else, and then I learn about that. So our capacity to learn is what is the underlying feature is neuroplasticity. I would not be sitting here talking to you today if neuroplasticity didn't turn on fire when I needed it for 8 years. And it took 8 years for me to use what I had in this brain to rebuild the skill sets of this brain. But the thinking portion, the character 4 portion of our brain, is the wisdom that we gain from the knowledge that we have had, and we have associated it, and we can relate to it. And this part, all it cares about is that emotion that I felt that morning, which was awe that I'm alive at all. And when we can connect to that, people, it's $1 billion industry of meditation to quiet what's going on in the left hemisphere so that we can open up the possibility to what's going on in the right hemisphere. And it's our peace. We are wired at the core of our being, of our right thinking tissue, to feel peace. And we do not exist in a world that is peaceful. So if we are functioning on an extreme left brain, left thinking, and we are emotionally volatile when people insult us, and we're all about the me, and we have forgotten about the we, look at the world we currently live in. And right now, we are so skewed to me, the individual, and I want more, and I'm against you because you're not a part of my tribe. And we balance that by knowing that I am alive. It is this incredibly precious gift. The odds that I had to beat just to be here. Have you ever stopped to think about the odds you had to beat just to be here? Think about this. Now, first of all, think about this. The little egg cell that would evolve into you eventually, it took form. It's about the size of it's an egg cell. It's tiny. But it took form during your mother's 5th week of gestation. So your mother, your grandmother's pregnant, right? And that little egg cell that would be your mother has now made it into the womb. And during the 5th week of being there, the little egg cell that would grow into you took form. It differentiated into the ovum. And so you, the little egg cell, witnessed the next 8 months of your mother's gestation, your mother's birth, your mother's screaming, your mother's toddler years, your mother's learning to sing and laugh and play and learn geography and mathematics, all the way through her puberty. And then, so she's born with some 400,000 egg cells in her 2 ovaries. And out of those 400,000 egg cells, approximately 500 of those egg cells are going to be the next follicular eruption, month by month by month with her period. And your little egg cell, imagine you're hanging out in your little ovarian follicle and it's your turn and you're getting all prepped by the hormones of the body and you're going, oh my God, it's my ride, right? And you're this little egg cell. And then the hormones swoop by your little egg cell and it beams you out and the fimbriae of the fallopian tubes gather you up and you begin your promenade, your fallopian promenade on the road to your mother's sacred womb. And in that moment, your father was there for you, and you were one of the lucky ones, and you beat the odds of all those egg cells. You beat the odds. And how can that not be something that we celebrate the wonder of? The odds you had to beat just to be here. And then for the next 9 months, that little egg cell is going to multiply its DNA, repackage that DNA. One cell becomes 2, becomes 4, becomes 8, becomes 16, becomes 50 trillion cells over the course of 9 months. And you're multiplying egg cells at a rate of 250,000 new cells per second. Per second, not per minute, per second. You're this explosion, and literally the energy of the universe is what is fueling all of this from happening. You are nothing other than mass and energy working together. And then there's you. And it's like, how on earth can I have mental health problems and not acknowledge and have awe for what we are? Oh my gosh. And that was the gift that stroke gave to my life. And you can see I get a little excited about it.
A little, yeah. We
are so beautiful. We are so beautiful. We are perfect and whole and beautiful just the way we are. And it's like, if we would become balanced as a society, I truly believe with every essence of my being that our number one job is to love one another. When we love one another and we support one another and we encourage one another, we all grow and we will benefit as humanity. And when that happens, we will really recognize we have fragile resources